that right? No. Is that better? The amount of time that I spend trying to center myself in the frame instead of just adjusting the camera is beyond me, all right? Years, eons of my life I could get back by just getting up and adjusting the camera ever so slightly. But I am who I am, and I refuse to change. Anyways, I gotta move the chair too. It's all about extra steps. You know what? I'm just trying to speed up my digestion, or however that works. I gotta tell you, dude, the new haircut. Look, I'm not trying to excuse my barber's actions whatsoever, but the new haircut's growing on me. Literally. But actually, I gotta say, I don't know, man. It's kind of working. It's kind of working. Now, to be fair, I think I would probably do that naturally. Like, I tend to just pull things off regardless, so I at least get 99.100% of the credit. But, you know what? I'm releasing some of my hate and anguish. So, moving on. I almost forgot to hit the intro. We just started talking, started living. A day in the life. It was very candid. It was very real. Everything about this feels off-center. But it's too late now. We can't fix it. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Full Circus. My name is Tristan Sartoris, and this, critics are saying, is the smartest show in stupidity. I don't really know what that means, and it might have been a slight, but you know what? Ask the critics, okay? I don't know. You think I have the answers? That's the problem. You get broad shoulders and a nice smile, and all of a sudden people keep looking to you to lead, okay? They keep looking for you to provide the answers, the knowledge, the wisdom. I don't have it. I'm just a silly goose. You can't help the body that you're put in. Before we go anywhere, I want to say quick prayers out to my mom, who's having a small little surgery, and it's going to be fine. It's all going to be great, but we're going to put prayers out there regardless, okay? Now, I've been praying, but when you have a captive audience, it's important to, you know, send those prayers collectively. You didn't mean to do it. You might not have wanted to be a part of it, but I think hostage prayers still count, right? They're like... I don't know if the Lord can sort of decipher through those. Like, freaking, these were all begrudgingly. They're muttering to say, help me. What's going on down there? But hopefully the message all gets the same. So prayers, mom, healthy, safety. It's what it's all about. And I don't know if there are any more hostage prayers we can use. I would like better Wi-Fi. Shout out to T-Mobile for absolutely nothing, dude. I've got this sweet little... you know, portable modem that I thought was so cool, and it works well, you know, about at least 8% of the time. But, man, it's just been falling off. And I think they throttle you at certain hours of the night when they expect you to be sleeping. The problem is, I don't. Okay, so that can be a little inconvenient for a guy like me, a little bit of a night owl. All right, I want whatever Wi-Fi Batman has. Okay, he's up in the night. Computer. All right, imagine if T-Mobile's just like throttling your internet. All right, I need Bat Wi-Fi. And not bad Wi-Fi. So I got to get that fixed. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. But how you guys doing? It's been a bit of an interesting week. I'm just sort of trying to realign, get some things ready. Yes, is it late? Is it going to be shorter? I have no idea. But it is, okay? And when is it not? Again, we'll see if it uploads on time because of my freaking internet! Hopefully it hears me, and we'll get to the bottom of that. But I've just been having fun, dude. I've just been having fun and experiencing life. And I have to acknowledge me, okay, in that I come in here week to week, and I like to regale for you the tales of my losses, my struggles, and my frustration. And I just want to reiterate, just in case, that I'm not bummed about it at all, okay? Whether it's the car problems or the tickets or if I get jumped in an alley. Like, I'm thrilled to be experiencing life as a whole. And I like to report. I like to come back and tell you how bad it is, because I think it's funny, and I'm trying to glean the sort of comedy from the stories. But I want to just say, because I know some people listen to this and they don't necessarily know the ins and outs, maybe of my personality or how I'm feeling. I don't ever want it to come across as depressing, okay? And I only say that because my ex-girlfriend's dad has been sending me some very just inspirational and motivational Christian talks, which is great. Okay, I don't even know if he's listening to the show, and don't get me wrong, I'm a Christ-following, God-fearing man. I appreciate it nonetheless, but it almost feels like it can be from the point of view like, oh, you're struggling. It wasn't as on the nose as, hey man, have you gotten pulled over and they ripped you off? Here's this message. But it's just been in the same sort of vein of struggle, and I just for anybody who listens, and a lot of people do, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that I'm so thrilled and ecstatic and happy. I'm just having fun. I'm just embracing the losses and the awkwardness. You have to go and create the sort of stories in life, all right? If I wasn't losing, I would be trying to lose, all right? Just the other day, I started doing this thing where, when you go into like a parking garage or any sort of lot and they charge you. It's like $20 to pay for this thing, and I give the lady $20 and I say, keep the change. Now, this isn't to rob her of any sort of tip. There is no change. And you shouldn't do it in any sort of customer service. I don't know why I feel like this is different. It's not necessarily a waiting on sort of situation, but the goal is for her or him to look at me in a sort of, what, like recounting, is there maybe more money here? Or that just I'm the idiot. I want people to look at me like I'm the goofball that I am, all right? And unfortunately, again, broad shoulders, nice smile. A lot of people just tend to put me up on a pedestal that I just don't belong on. So I enjoy creating these stupid, awkward situations where they go, oh, it's freaking, huh? And that provides me with so much joy, so I'm thrilled. But yes, anyways, for me in my life, everything is good, everything rocks, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate any more prayers of prosperity and freaking victory, but just to make sure everyone knows that I'm not sad or bummed or struggling emotionally. Okay, physically, I wish I was eating better, but that's fine. That's different. Speaking of finding stories, dude, I've been considering going back to door dashing, which not for the money, but I miss. Maybe I'll just start driving around, but I remember just getting. You can go back and listen to the episodes of this podcast, but I remember just getting so much freaking awesome fodder. I mean, how about the story of Fat Thea? What a deep pull. Or the people that would answer the door without any clothes on. Like there was so much randomness that I would walk into. And not only that, in terms of like creative writing, either for stories or short films or for stand-up, there was something to be said about having so much alone time and sort of doing something that you don't want to do. Now, I could probably put that energy into charitable works, good deeds, going to help my family, but the truth is that I love and appreciate them and I want to help them. So something about doing a monotonous job that's not that enjoyable or enticing, you tend to find so much more chaos and also just sort of creativity. I want to be still, I want to be still and listen to the world because the world's speaking, baby, and there's so many good stories to hear. So I don't know, we'll see. Or I would love to just get like a waiting job or work as a busboy or a cook. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, speaking of fun stories, dude, I had a little summerween party with some sweet friends, and what a thrill that was because Halloween nut, okay? Just holiday nut in general. Pause. I just love themes. I love the whimsy. I love the story. I love the feeling of just, here's this big event and we're crawling towards it. And I think that's why Halloween and Christmas just feel so big. It's because they sit at the end of the month and you just go, whoa, and it's just build and build and build. And you got songs and you got movies and you got costumes and you got fun, dude. But my friends, like I, just can't wait. I'm impatient, okay? And we missed the boat on a Christmas in July party, but having a nice little summerween where we got to watch some spooky movies and eat some spooky foods. And thank you to Bree for throwing it in a hard amount of work, okay? I don't cook treats that often. I'm getting okay in normal kitchen, but in terms of baking or any sort of desserts, I don't know why it's different, but I struggle insurmountably. All right, it's more of a science, and I don't know if I've necessarily broken bad with sugar yet, but I thank you for all the effort and appreciate the time and energy it takes. But we also carved watermelon, which was a first for me. And I will say, dude, and maybe carry this to Halloween, okay? Maybe even a cantaloupe, another type of melon, anything you want. But melons stomp gourds in every fashion, okay? Gourd, squash, pumpkin, all of it. It does not compare. It does not compare to a melon, okay? Because it's so sweet and it's freaking fruit. It's juicy. It's amazing, okay? You're not eating a pumpkin, and I'm sure you can make some sweet pumpkin pies or anything like that, but there was something even more satisfying about, one, just mutilating a watermelon, but you're eating, no spared parts, all right? It was like a clean, fresh kill, and was smiling back at me and just had a ton of watermelon, but I don't eat the pumpkin, all right? We used to make the pumpkin seeds a long while back, and I think it was the one year, again, I'm not great at making treats or any sort of snacks. My mom allowed me to cook the pumpkin seeds. We would strain them out, and you'd season them, mostly just salt, and I got to do it. It was the first, like, big responsibility I ever had in my life, and she allowed me to cook the pumpkin seeds, and I loved them. But when I did it, it just didn't go the same. You're just supposed to bake them for a few minutes and then put some salt on it. I don't know what I did wrong, but they came out completely burned, and I didn't like the taste, and I just kept adding more salt and more pepper and maybe garlic powder. I have no idea, but I threw up, dude. I was so sick, and I haven't had a pumpkin seed since. Just a little boy. I didn't know how to operate the kitchen. I was only 22. Now, I was 8 years old, and I haven't had a pumpkin seed since then, so it was a time. Also, shout out to Miss Devon, or just Devon. You know what? I got to be careful. Sometimes people don't like the manners. But you know what? I'm going to say Mrs. and Mr. no matter what, all right? People look at me like it's a problem. God forbid a player be polite, all right? But that is that's a thing people constantly mock me for, all right? You get yes, sirs, yes, ma'ams, misters, and misses, and I don't. Look, all right? That's just the way I was raised. And you know what? I'm so out of bounds. I think that the manners play a nice balance, all right? I feel like I bring sophisticated chaos in a way. I will give you your sirs and ma'ams, pleases and thank yous, but I'll also talk about my bowel movements, all right? I'll tell you the tales of poop, and I'll make toilet jokes at the dinner table, but rest assured, my elbows won't be on. I won't be chewing with my mouth open. I'm the prince of politeness, okay? But I have a sort of maniacal way with manners, and anyways, people complain about it, but you're gonna get it. I've been doing it forever. I remember being probably right around the pumpkin story, but I was a kid calling other women and boys Mrs., Mr., that were my age, and they're going, what the frick? I was like, you know what? Okay, God forbid he got a little bit of class. But anyways, yes, shout out to Devin for, we made freaking, dude, Halloween shirts. I gotta get one now. Just imagine how many, again, chaotic things you could do, but in a respectful way. And I got this sweet Bugs Bunny Halloween shirt. Happy Halloween, Doc. And I'm just thrilled. So that was cool. I think it was called a cricket, if anyone else wants to make their own shirts. And the reason I bring that up, wait. Shout out to Devin for the shirts. But two, shout out to Miss Devin because she, one, listens to the podcast and we appreciate friendship and support. But she also heard the police story where I broke my freaking phone holder thing, and she got me a new one. So we thank the friends, and we thank camaraderie and fun and whimsy and people as a whole. We appreciate people a whole. Pause. But yeah, it was a sweet time, and thank you very much. And just happy, dude, just happy to have awesome people. But the reason I wanted to say cricket t-shirt was to have a segue, and it was supposed to sound natural until I sort of backtracked over my own words. All right, this is where I'm going. Missed the exit. Speaking of crickets, dude, crickets got into my humble abode, and I don't know if you've ever tried to fall asleep or work in voiceover with a I can't whistle high enough. But okay, they're freaking rubbing their legs together, and they're making noises, and it's unsettling, and it's uncomfortable, and it's loud, and it's irritating. And there was 4 of them in here. Okay, and you don't really know how many crickets is one batch of noise worth. All right. Because you hear it going, you're like, that's got to be one cricket. But they just keep firing off, and they start talking to each other. And I was hunting them, dude. And the problem is, I guess they sense me. And again, just, my leadership presence, which, I may or may not be deserving of. But I was on the hunt, and I was leading my own tribe of 1 to slaughter these things. And I know people have their own feelings about killing bugs or whatever. But look, when it's inside my walls, this is my playpen, all right? I would never kill a rabbit, but do I judge a dog when he kills one within his fence? No. I get it, all right? And when you're going to put something in the kill box, I'm going to kill it. So I will say I got a little bit carried away. I was talking to myself. I was even recording just a voice memo. I was just like an Italian mob boss. Hey, you know what I'm going to do to you? Say hello to my little friend. I'm carrying around like bleach, and I'm firing off like a freaking revolver. And I started tracking these things down. But the problem is they get quiet every time you get near them. So I would get within 15 feet, and then I got to wait 10 minutes before they start. And then eventually I found them, and I strangled them. And I there's no nice way to say that. Again, I'm as classy as can be, but I'll strangle a cricket, and I did multiple times. And here's the thing: is I love the sound of crickets. I really do. Outside, and I'm still hearing them outdoors. I go, wow, they're so happy, they're so great. But these ones, they came into my home. Right, that's an intruder. I love people, but if you're in my house, I mean, not visitors. Okay, you guys are safe to enter if you're welcomed in. But I keep like a vampirical sort of rule. If I don't welcome you in, then you're not allowed in. But I had an absolute slaughtering and annihilation of crickets, and I just kept finding one after the other. And they're too quick. I don't know how you catch a cricket. People are giving you all sort of concoctions and different traps and things that I didn't have at 2 a.m. So all I could do was just grab it by the hand and wait until it stops squirming. And it sounds violent because it is, but you know what? That's what you got to do to kill a cricket, all right? I was hunting them, and I feel bad about it, but I'm going to get over it, all right? I mean, in the moment, I will say I was definitely doing it for sport. Like, I was welcoming them, all right? And maybe that's something I got to work on. But after you kill like 3 or 4 crickets, you start going, am I pretty good at this? So hopefully there's no more. But if there is, and if you've got a cricket problem, call me, because I won't pick up. But I'll tell you how cool I was doing it. But I don't know if it's there is a sport called cricket, but I don't know if there is a cricket hunting sport. Speaking of sports, dude, happy birthday to the Patriot Games, which it just happened for the first time. I don't even know if they're going to continue doing it, but they did these little Patriot Games in Ohio, of all places. Ohio doesn't get much, all right? We get Swenson's, we get the Hall of Fame game, and that's it, and bad weather. But we got the Patriots games, which I didn't even know were going on, and I'm still not even really privy to all the details. But it's cool when Ohio gets chosen for something, and it was basically just this. They took 2 athletes from every high school in the state, or not even athletes. I think they just people who wanted to compete in general athletics. It wasn't like we took football players and then made them compete in football against wannabe librarians. But it was just like general athletics, and they competed in kickball or anything like that. But it was pretty cool, and you were able to compete for a scholarship for like $150,000. So I don't know, because I was homeschooled, if I have any sort of redshirting ability to go to public school. But if I can compete in the Patriot Games next time, and there's a cricket killing competition, I would love to submit my tale. But yeah, it was interesting. Everyone was talking about, the Patriot Games conclude, and I was like, the what games? I didn't even know, dude. I'm not really plugged in, I mean, most of the headlines, it was all about Trump. It was all political, and that's probably why. All right, it should have been on ESPN. That should have been a bigger freaking deal. That's where I get my main source of news, but I don't watch Fox. I don't watch NBC? Is there stuff on NBC? I don't know, all right? I can't, I'm not. And people get mad at me for it, but you know what? Here's the thing, dude. Again, like I'm fine to find my own embarrassing and awkward and brutal losses in my own life, but purposefully submitting myself, and getting involved in the political spectrum as a whole, it's not the best place for me. It's too sad and stressful for my achy, breaky little heart. And also, people aren't selling it well either, all right? I've noticed as the next term and the next election begins to pick up some traction, things are already getting argumentative and chaotic, and no one's having any fun, all right? I want to go where the smiles are, but I don't like the idea of people go, oh, this is I think, and they're like, get in here, it sucks. That's not a good, all right? Why would I want to, okay? I've never seen somebody jump into a pool, go, yeah, it's freezing, you should get it, it's the worst, okay? I'll sit back, reserve. But I'm just not really looking forward to it, and people get mad at me. I'm not even in the fight. They go, you're so naive and ignorant. I go, that's fair, but at least I'm comfortable at the moment, I'll figure it out eventually. But also, to my credit, I will say, I don't know if it was different when I was younger and there were other people in office, but for as long as I've been able to vote, the candidates, not exactly, creme de la creme, cream of the crop, pick of the litter sort of thing. I don't want to see another election where it's lesser of two evils, like figure out how will we get by. I'm not even really sure these presidents are doing anything, all right? For you see Biden and Trump, and they're like 99,000 years old. There's no way you're cognitive enough to run a country if there's even anything happening to begin with, all right? It's just, presidents feel more like streamers to me, like they're just there. I don't think they're actually doing anything at this point, but they're just making headlines. And you go, oh, that was different. Nothing's changed. I'm going to do this. Like, that would be cool, but that was just a tweet. Everything's all clicks. The world itself is advertising, but we'll see. We'll see. It would be cool to see a genuine, role model president again. When you were, in second grade and people would write to the president, dear president, I think it was so cool and you're awesome. I want to be like you, and you exude class, all right? And you keep your elbows off the table, and you're a little silly and immature, but you're sophisticated. And you call people Mr. and Mrs. And you say yes, sirs, and yes, ma'ams, and thank yous and pleases. Wait a minute. Do you have broad shoulders and a nice smile? Whoa! All right, I can see why people do come to me for answers, but it would be nice to have that sort of, if the president really is just a glorified mascot at this point, it would be nice if the mascot was a little bit less divisive, if there was some, upholding respect instead of just like, I'm going to snip your hair, come on, it's too bad, or Trump just going, hey, quiet, piggy, I'm going to run for a third term, but the freaking Constitution's pretty strict. People are just like, oh, what is going on? Nothing's happening, dude. Nothing's happening. People get mad at me that I'm not plugged in. I just don't want to. We'll see. I don't know who the next people are, the next candidates, who people want. The only person that I saw, I don't even know how involved he is in all of it to begin with, so this could be real ignorant to even bring up, but Marco Rubio, and I don't even know what he stands for, but I saw him talking about football, and I was like, oh, that rocks. That's cool. That's relatable, Or he was talking about RFK's diet. He's like, it's not sustainable. It's not right. And then his wife cut him off. He's like, yeah, but you don't eat right either. I was like, oh, I'm leaning in. Someone's about to get exposed. And he's like, I eat pretty well. And they're like, well, what do you eat? And he goes, he eats Pop-Tarts. And I go, oh, they tried to embarrass him. She tried to undermine him and say, yeah, you don't eat clean either, but they made him a freaking king, dude. I would love a president who's like, dude, you like Pop-Tarts too? You don't like college football? Send. That would be nice. I don't know. Again, I don't think the president's really doing anything, so he might as well be relatable or fun. I just don't need you to be, an elder, okay? If you're not young enough to drive a vehicle, I don't think you should be driving the country. And I think that's just a pretty neutral stance. And you go, fence sitter, but hey, pretty good view up here, huh? But I don't know. People live in their own circumstances. I think if whoever it is, I don't really worry about it. Just drive your car, okay? Be old enough to do that or young enough. But I think people you worry about gas prices, about war, all right? I don't think the country's even looking for prosperity at this point. I think we've been so... Again, I'm pretty reserved, so I don't know what the opinions are necessarily. But I think for as long as I've been paying attention, everything is so negative that they're not even looking for it. We're going to move forward and enter a new age. You're like, can we just not go backwards for a minute, for a second? You know, you just want gas price down. You want less wars. You want AI to disappear. You know, if you could have it, I would like to not shoot rockets into the moon. Things would be cool like that, but we'll see. We will see. Anyways, it's not really my place, but I can tell as this next thing picks up and people are going to get mad at me again for not wanting to. That's all I'm going to say is I don't have the answers, dude. Okay? I can't even make my bed. You think I can make up my mind? So, anyway, speaking of making my bed, dude, this is a nice little segue. I'm trying to make it more natural, but I don't know if it's feeling that way. I bought silk sheets, dude. And by silk, I do mean shiny plastic. They were, knockoff and fake silk sheets. But I will say they were supposed to be more cooling. And when you lie down on a silk sheet and you get like in the silk topper, I'm slipping and sliding out of this thing, dude. I woke up on the floor. I tend to roll and there's no friction. There's a vroom, just a little penguin everywhere. And I tend to sleep with my arms underneath the pillow. Got silk pillowcases too. And my pillow's just sliding off. My bed's completely empty by the time I wake up out of it on the ground. But it's a pretty interesting flavor. I think it's comfortable to sort of fall asleep in because you're just like in a waterbed. You're tossing and turning. You're just sort of floating. So highly recommend even the cheapest versions. I would like to see what actual silk does. Maybe I'll get some fake silk robes, fake silk clothes, and just sort of slip and slide even more. But it's pretty cool. It does feel a little like you're wrapped in a Pop-Tart wrapper, dude. These things are gray and they're shiny and it looks like aluminum foil, I feel like I'm sleeping in an astronaut bed, and I'm not really waking up in it necessarily, but it's a fun time, all right, and I highly recommend it. I can't say enough good things about it if you're fine with falling out of it, okay? So there's a little preface. What else is going on? I meant to talk about something before. I meant to amend my previous statement. I mentioned about my dad being late to the Hall of Fame game. Apparently, it was not his fault. So I just got to give credit where credit is due. He said it wasn't. I threw him under the bus. I would like to freaking pull him out from under the bus. What else is happening in the world? I don't follow politics, but I do follow sports news. And I meant to circle back before. The ESPYs happened somewhat recently. I'm not going to talk about the awards necessarily, like covering the Oscars or the Emmys. I don't care who won. But it is sort of interesting that now you have WWE wrestlers in ESPN bought WWE, and I wonder how the other athletes and sports feel about that, because I love wrestling. I love WWE, and they're talented as all get out. I think it's a little interesting to have them in this sort of broader category because it's not a sport, I like it in the sense that I'm also a performer, but I think wrestling, entertainment wrestling is more like dance. I think ballet is probably the most disciplined and athletic feat in the world, but I wouldn't call ballet a sport. So it's a bit of a weird ground, and I don't know how the other athletes are gonna feel about that. So it would just be a little silly if the WWE wrestlers won any of the sort of awards that the more common athletes might have got. You're like, I was a Super Bowl winner. I got nothing for that. It's like, yeah, but did you see his fireworks and theme music? It was awesome. Again, love wrestling, but it's a little uncharted territory, and we'll see how far that goes. Also, if you've been paying attention at all to college sports, Akron, which is from Ohio, so we're getting some more news, dude, in Ohio. Akron announced a sort of sweepstakes where if you were a season ticket holder, for the very first drive of the new season, you can call the plays. You can be the offensive coordinator for the first drive. And I think the coach also said if you score, you can keep running it back. But I don't know who's going to get that. But what an awesome freaking thing. You get to play real life Madden with no consequences. Unfortunately, those are real people, and they're not just like WWE athletes. So you sending people on go routes, they might collide. We don't know, but how much fun would that be, dude? They've sold out, I think, for the first time in ever, like the season tickets and the suites and all. Like everybody's hoping to get this little offensive coordinator role. I have a feeling it's going to go to one of, the more famous people, because it's going to draw more attention. It's all more clicks. But it'd be nice if it was just some regular Joe Schmo. I would love it if a guy like Smokey Joe got it. And he's just like, dude, go route, go route, go route. I want to see fake punts on first down. I want to see something crazy. I have seen a little bit of backlash about it, because you're sort of, you're turning sports now into a show, or more of a show than it was before. Now we're bridging the gap between WWE, so it's going to make sense. But they're like, oh, you're going to ruin the competitive drive. Like these, I get it, because, imagine you're playing for the Akron team and you're like, man, we're going to go out, we're going to win this year, dude. We're going to play our best. We've been trying so hard. And you're like, yeah, we're actually not even going to coach for the first beginning portion of this game or season. We're just gonna sort of, who wants to? This guy? Yeah, so this guy's your dad now. He's gonna tell you what to do. So I definitely get it. It's a little interesting. I think if it was with a bigger program, there would be much more uproar. But with a college team like Akron in the MACtion, you're playing more cupcake games, and you already get paid money to play those games. Like the bigger, more competitive schools, they pay smaller schools millions, okay? Akron or the like, they get paid millions to face something like Texas or Ohio State or Oklahoma, which is already embarrassing enough, right? But at least you're not out of control. Like if you're like, oh, we got paid millions of dollars, so they expect us to lose. Like we're such weak competition. It's insulting, but it's not necessarily like throwing the game away. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Speaking of which, dude, a cupcake game would be awesome. Like in real life, you pay this team so much money just to sort of inspire the players. Like, dude, we totally stomped them. Look how good we're gonna be. We won freaking 1,000,000 to nothing. We're the best. And you paid them money to get beat up, basically. But I think that would be awesome, dude. Imagine, like, just paying somebody. I would take that offer. If somebody gave me some money to get beat up for free, so they felt like, I feel powerful and strong again. I got millions of dollars. I'm not even talking football. Like, just genuinely just got beat up and jumped. I think that, there's a market there. There's potential here. This could be pretty lucrative. Okay, imagine you're out on a date or something, and then you pay some guy to like, hey man, your girlfriend's ugly, and you go and then you just beat him up and you pay him some money, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you're so strong, or vice versa. All right, if you're like, dude, I don't think you're strong, and your girlfriend's like, yes I am, and then you pay the guy to show up, and then you beat up 19 people. I don't know. The possibilities are endless, really. But, I think there's ways to incorporate this sort of cupcake game into real life. I don't know what it is yet, all right? But, again, I don't have all the answers. I only have broad shoulders and a nice smile. So, dude, I think that pretty much concludes all the nonsense that I wanted to share with you today. I don't know how much of it made sense, but it's life. Okay, and life hardly ever does. So we'll continue to be sophisticatedly chaotic. Sophistichaos? There's something there. Yeah, we'll figure it out along with the cupcake game. But if you guys can enter and be a coordinator or something. I forgot all that we've already talked about. So usually I do like a little wrap up and tied in a bow thing, but we'll see. Also, look at this. I got this little shot of New York City in the background, which is high def. It's at least about 18 pixels. And I just did not do it right, but hopefully you didn't notice. I also have it looping on a 14-second thing, and it does that often. But I have a firm belief that you only have enough attention to stare at something to investigate. Is that looping for about 14 seconds? It's right at the cap. And if that's not true and you've noticed it many times, then I hope that your memory really only lasts 14 seconds and you've already forgotten it. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you in the next one as sports and fall and fun and life begin to rise. And go out there and smile today. All right, guys, that's it. That's your mission. If you're wherever you are, smile. Do it right now. Don't even wait for a joke. Don't wait for a knock joke. Smell mop. Don't wait for anything silly or funny or chaotic to happen and then find. Don't look to find appreciation and just smile right now like a psychopath. Look at yourself in the mirror. Open up your phone camera and look at yourself. Smile. And then floss. Gosh dang it. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.